Well, this board's got a few defects. Hi, I'm Tim from Ozark Sawmill Services. We're back again doing an oak log, a white oak. It's got some defects in the center of it. I'll let you take a look at it. I'm gonna make 5/4 boards. Not sure how great the lighting is in here. But you got some decaying wood there, and up here we're just gonna try to make the biggest cant we can and get some 5/4 boards out of it. It's not the greatest white oak, but we'll see if we can salvage something out of it. Let's see if I can get this camera where it needs to go. I think that's good. But we're back here in the Ozarks, and here we're sawing, like I said, this white oak. The last video we did about a month ago, we were sawing up a cedar log, and I gave the qualities of some medicinal values of it, and I said we're going to do a white oak next. And I had about 2 or 3 white oak logs, and I ended up sawing them and milling them up, made some nice 4x6s and a couple 1xs, and you know, my camera work was, I was using my phone, and when I turned the phone around to video what I was talking about, I realized editing, I wasn't videoing the content I was talking about, so we end up just deleting those. We got a new camera, and we're gonna see how this goes. Hopefully you can come along. Like I said in the first video, we're starting a sawmill business here in the Ozarks in north central Arkansas. My brother-in-law Wayne and I, and you know, we're in the process of having a Nyles kiln, wood drying kiln, on the way. It should come hopefully by the end of the month. We're starting to dig for the foundation, and we're gonna have, you know, the ability to dry lumber and to sterilize it, and hopefully within a reasonable amount of time. And we're also gonna upgrade from the Woodland Mills 126 to a Norwood HD Lumber Max 38. As of now, it's the biggest sawmill that Norwood has. And this one's going to have some hydraulics with it. It's going to have the log lifter, the log turner, and even a log dog. They're all going to be in hydraulics, so it'll go a lot better and faster than this Woodland Mills. And like I said, this Woodland Mills has been a good sawmill, and it definitely has paid for itself. And like I said, if you're thinking to get it and buying a sawmill, I mean, and you don't have a lot of money, it's worth the purchase, and it's got some good qualities. You know, I'm sort of at the edge with this blade. I may change the blade to a new blade, and I'm kind of wondering if I should try making one more cut, and then we'll change the blade. And you know, we had an issue with this a couple months back of it, the blade jumping the band wheels, and it was getting very frustrating because no matter what I tried, I couldn't get it to fix. And finally we got all that resolved. I'll show you sometime here in the future, if not today, that what was happening was the log turner that tightens, let's see, this T-handle right here, this tightens the blade. It's kind of like the same as a Norwood, and it has this little bolt at the end that you could put I think it's a 24 millimeter wrench on, and this ended up stripping out because I've had the sawmill for 6 years, and it just ended up stripping out over time, and I had to get a new one, and it came with a new system, and it called for 25 foot-pounds per pressure, and we have a torque wrench, and I was getting a little concerned that it just seemed like it was a little tight, but that's what it called for. And Wayne ended up calling up to their tech people, and the guy, I think his name was Derek, said, why don't you try dropping down the poundage, the foot pound, to 20. Even some guys run it at 17. So we dropped it down to 20, and it's worked fine ever since. But I'm always checking it. You get a little nervous because you just don't want to keep jumping the band wheels, and it hurts the blades, and it just gets you a little gibberish, jittery. That'll be a better word, because it's just not a pleasant sound. And but so far it's been working. And this is the let's see, this bolt here, in case if the blade's running too far forward, you turn this to bring the blade back. You turn this bolt clockwise, and to run the blade forward, if it's running too far back to go forward, you turn this counterclockwise. And so that's been with that system. Here's some of the 4x6s we've done, and some more 1x's, and I've done also some 6x6 pine. I was sawing those for the kiln, but then we found out we may just be able to use some angle iron. But that kiln's going to be in the process within the next month. Let me turn this around so I know what I'm filming. Excuse me, guys. We're just working out the kinks here. We're not professional by no means at this. Let's see how that works. But excuse me, that was professional. And so we're the backhoe guy was supposed to come today, but he's got the flu. My wife's got the flu. I'm a little under the weather, so we got the flu gun around here, so it may be a little delayed, but it's purpose to come within at least by the end of the month, and so is the Norwood sawmill. But we'll see. I'm always expecting a little delays, but in the meantime, we're going to be milling up with the 126 of the Woodland Mills, and it's done a good job. It can do, technically it says it can do about a 26-inch diameter, and it can do about a 21-inch cant. 26 is it's a piece of work when you have to when it's that big, but it's a good mill. We're gonna, like I said, do 5 quarter boards, and we'll just see how it goes. Oh, I did promise that I was going to also, as we share the medicinal values of the Eastern Red Cedar, which is, has to do, we put it in our colds and flu formula, which we call Ozark cold and flu, and the juniper berries help with the lungs and coughs and even some bronchitis. And what's interesting, even the white oak has the same similarities. What you do is you scrape off the outer bark, and you get down to the inner bark, and you scrape off that inner bark and you dry it, and the inner bark of the white oak is good for also the lungs, coughs, bronchitis, but it's also good for arthritis, and it's good for cuts and abrasions. It's an astringent, and astringent, it has a quality of drying things up, and one of the classic examples is diarrhea. Who wants to have diarrhea? But white oak, I haven't tried it per se, but there's a medicinal value that most people on the internet write about, that it has qualities that can help with diarrhea, help with internal bleeding and external bleeding. It has kind of a quality that witch hazel has, which is good for itches and abrasions. So, to be honest, we don't use much of the white oak. We got a bunch of other herbs that we use, but I don't know why. The way it sounds, we should probably give it a shot to see what what it can do to you. But I think it's, especially with the times we're in, it's a valuable little nugget to know of the medicine chest that we have out in our backyards and our land and our woods and wilderness, that the scriptures say that God, he made the trees, and the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the body, and it's also for healing of the nations, it says, I think, in the book of Revelations. And that's I like that. When you look at what's going on with Ukraine and other things, but with what's going on, it's just we may not be able to run to the drugstore or something. And I'm not saying this stuff will cure you, but it definitely will help build your immune system and can benefit you one way or another. So as we milling up different types of logs, I'm going to try to give you a little tidbit on what some uses. And I just cut down a black cherry tree that was alongside of our garden on the south side, and it was a big tree, and I was excited that we needed to get some sunlight in the garden, and it's a good tree to be able to mill up. And also black cherry has medicinal value. But I tell you what, I have never seen so much sapwood in one tree. I was a little disappointed, and I mean it's like in some areas it's 2.5 to 3 inches just around. I mean that takes 5-6 inches of diameter out of the log. But we'll see what we do when we get it over here. But we're gonna hope you stay with us as we're building. We're gonna grow and see how things go, and we're gonna end up trying to have a little online market and sell locally, and we're gonna the sawmill is going to be portable, so we're going to offer that type of service too. And so we just hope you can be a part of our we're just beginning this. I've had this sawmill, like I said, and it's sort of been a hobby. I did a few things with it. A logger friend had a bunch of logs, and I was milling some lumber for him, and he allowed me to mill some of my own lumber, and I built sheds and chicken coops and just a lot of things with it. But now we're taking this to a whole new level, so we hope that you can join us and pray for us that things just unfold, especially in the way the economy's going. But I just thank you that you're here, and I really hate to say hit that like button. They say to do that, and I'm even the same way. If you're not reminded to do it, then I don't do it either. So do what you feel led. Anyways, let's get back to sawing. Probably got to turn this log. You guys remember that last video? I had my trusty dusty 3-foot oops, sorry, I'm gonna get used to this, my 3-foot tape measure. That I had some comments, and so I was given a 30-foot. Now I asked you, what would you much rather have, the 30-foot or the 3-foot? Because this thing can stay in my pocket forever. This thing hardly ever stays on my belt. I may have to get a thing to hold it, but I kind of like this because I have to go out in the woods and collect rocks, and it's just something like a pocket knife that but I'm going to use the better of the tape. It's 11.3. Diameter is about 12 inches. And if we cut it off, it's about 9.5 that way. 14. It's about 10 that way. It is a nicer tape measure. definitely time to change the blade. It looks like the cuts are good, but it's just taking too much time. I do gotta increase the fluid level a little bit, but I'm afraid it'll bust the blade if I don't switch it. Alright, balance is the key. I'll put some water on it. It does look pretty like a unique type of grain in that, but I don't like some of the rotten spots. See what I'm doing. I need to get a 5-gallon bucket. There's a lot of things I need to do. Let me get the water on first, and then I'll get a better view. Yeah, it looks nice if you could do something with it as far as a tabletop. We're still going to go 5/4 boards, and which is 1 1/4 inches. And it still might be worth some things once we put them in the kiln and dry them. And that got some unique grain to it. You know, the knots, and it's like where these bark inclusions, or it's just where these knots and they just run. Got little runners. I'm doing this thing. I'm doing the sawmill. It's dust again. It got like little runners. I like that. And we're gonna square this up and see what we can get out of it. Okay, what we got here is about 7 3/4 by about 8 1/2. reason why I stopped. Let me. I go left, you go right. The reason why I stopped is, like I said, I'm a little under the weather and trying to get this thing to this cant. I had some issues with it, and even with the blade was riding. I needed to adjust it, and I accidentally adjusted it the wrong way, and then that took some time. And then with all the knots on this, it took a while to get this thing leveled to where I wanted. I even on that last piece got a little more than I wanted, but I'm getting tired, so I'm just gonna make this a part one, and I'll finish it up later on. But you know, I need to probably just go in and rest a little bit. But you know, thanks for your joining us. Hope you learned something. You know, like I said, we're gonna try to bring you along as we build our company, our business. We got some plans in the future, and hopefully the economy and the way it's going isn't going to interfere. But I'm glad you're here today, and I just want to thank you. May you all be blessed.